Welcome back to the channel. This is Philosophy. Today's video is another net worth update for September 2022. So let's go ahead and jump right into the numbers. To recap from August, our net worth was $130,552. We'll start with the equity that I have in the properties that I own. I did end up selling one this month, which we're going to get into later in the video, so stick around for that. But I only have one condo at this point, and the total value of my equity in it is $48,216. This is down about $37,192. Of course, that is because I sold the second property, so we'll get into that. My DCPP sits at a balance of $3,150. This is a decrease from the previous month of $164. My RRSP sits at a balance of $42,928. This is a decrease from the previous month of $2,248. That's coming from the market doing a little dip. My TFSA now sits at $31,462. This is an increase from the previous month of $31,092. Of course, that is coming from the property that I sold. The majority of that I put into a TFSA, and stick around. I'm going to be discussing what I actually invested that money into, because it's not the typical TDE series that I have been buying up until this point. My car is still valued at $5,000, hoping to sell that in the next few months before moving to New Zealand. My line of credit now sits at a balance of $8,559. So that's an increase in net worth of about $160. And then I have a new line item this month, which is cash. And I have $2,000 in cash. This is for my upcoming move to New Zealand. So I'm going to be putting that money aside so that I can purchase things like plane tickets or any kind of little bits and bobs I need before I go, and then potentially accommodations once I get there. So this brings us to a total net worth for September 2022 of $124,199. This is quite a dip from the previous month, with a negative amount of about $6,352. About $3,000 in that loss was from market dips, so this is something that I'm expecting. I know things are going to go up and down. I'm not too concerned about that. I did end up losing about $2,000 on the property that I sold, just in terms of all of the costs that it cost to sell it, like realtor commissions and condo documents and lawyer fees and et cetera, et cetera. I had estimated that I would about break even, but it turns out that I am down a little bit on that. So that accounts for a bit of the loss this month. The remainder comes from a few purchases that I decided I was going to buy once I sold that property, which included a new washing machine for my current condo. Mine broke down like a few months ago, and I've just been using the buildings, which works fine now. But I do want to rent out my place while I'm in New Zealand, so I figured it would be good to replace the washing machine now that I have a little bit of cash. I also ended up buying a Macbook Pro. It was on sale for like $300 off, and it's pretty rare that those go on sale. And I bought it because I do want to continue doing YouTube once I move to New Zealand. I want to make sure that I'm documenting that whole experience and just making more content, and I won't be able to do that without a laptop that can actually run something like DaVinci, which is a video editing software. So now let's talk about the money that I put into my TFSA and what I have invested in. So I ended up putting $15,000 into a Vanguard fund. This is a first for me. I did it through the TD web broker. So just on my TD app, I just went on my computer on TD's website through the web broker and bought VEQT, which is the Vanguard All Equity Fund, ETF fund. And I got the idea to invest in this from Dan Bortolotti, who wrote Reboot Your Portfolio. He's also the author of Canadian Couch Potato. Canadian Couch Potato was a huge source for me when I was originally building my portfolio. And I believe he no longer recommends investing in the TDE series line, so I decided that because I had a bit of cash that I was going to switch things up and go for this Vanguard fund, this ETF fund, something a little different for me. And I had a big chunk, so $15,000 into it, so I thought, let's go ahead, let's throw it in there. I don't have anything in bonds at the moment. I just don't think that I need to be in bonds. I'm pretty heavy, like, I'm comfortable with that risk level at this point in my life because I don't think I'm going to stop working anytime soon. I actually really enjoy working. I really enjoy the job that I do at the moment, and I have quite a bit set aside. I am technically Coast Fire if you include things like CPP and OAS in Canada. So that is what I'm now invested in. I am also considering moving the rest of my TDE series funds, which I have the TDB, I think it's 900 and 902, which is the Canadian and the US. I am considering moving both of those into the Vanguard fund, but I might do that a little bit later. I haven't really decided if I want to do that yet. I did end up putting the remaining $16,000 into a GIC, Guaranteed Investment Certificate, which had an interest rate of about 2.55%, I believe, and it's going to be in there for about 100 days. So that means that it'll mature around January. January, February, or March is when I'm thinking of going to New Zealand. So I wanted to just put it aside. I am going to need that money quite soon. And the reason I put it into a GIC was just because I didn't want to put it in the market. I didn't want to risk losing any of that principal. I have 8,000 of that set aside for New Zealand. And then the other 8,000 is to pay off my line of credit. By the end of the year, it's going to be at a balance of just about $8,000. And then, of course, I might be selling my car or should be selling my car. And that was supposed to pay for the majority of my line of credit. But I wasn't too sure. I might end up keeping my car and just lending it to a friend while I'm gone. So we'll see how that goes. But I did put that money aside into a GIC, and I am going to be spending it within the next year, I guess. Or potentially when I get to New Zealand, if I get a job right away, I won't have to dip into it that much. But I'm not too concerned about drawing down my net worth at this point because I don't know, I'm just more about living at this point and getting out there and doing the things I want to do. There's just so many things that I feel like are happening so quickly, and I just like want to be out in the world, and that this is why we're on a amazing, beautiful hike in the mountains today, because I had the day off and I just felt like I need to get out there. I need to do these things before the winter comes and all that. So yes, I ended up selling my second property. That means that my mom is moving. My mom is moving back to Ottawa, but she is staying with me until about mid-October. I'm going to be going back to Ottawa as well, just for a few days to visit family and friends before heading off to New Zealand. So I'm really looking forward to that trip to see a bunch of people before getting on this like crazy big adventure. I have been working quite a bit more, not like full-time hours quite yet, but about 30, 35 hours a week, and really enjoying it. It's really quite taxing though, like just very physically demanding, and I'm actually loving it. I'm really loving that work. I'm really loving that job, and I'm putting more aside for New Zealand for things coming up in the future. I want to get back into traveling now that COVID is kind of calmed down, and yeah, I'm just like, I don't know, I want to get out there. I don't know about you guys, but these last couple years just made me feel like I'm falling behind and doing the things I want to do in life. I'm also prepping to rent out my condominium once I do move. I'm doing a few updates, painting a few things, just purchasing things because I am going to rent it out furnished. If you guys have ever rented out a property furnished, give me a comment down below. I'd love to know more if you were able to rent it out easily, if it took a little bit longer, or how the whole process went. So that is pretty much it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me on this amazing little hike. I'm going to throw in a few B-roll things of this hike just at the end of the video so you can see like what this was. I'm currently in Kananaskis on a hike called Arethusa Cirque, I believe, and it's larch season. So you have all these beautiful yellow trees just popping out, and it's quite cloudy, but some sun is popping through. So it's really beautiful. Leave me a comment down below about how your fire journey is going this month. If you've noticed quite a big dip in the market like I have this current month, September, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.